Hello and welcome to another episode of the Technical SEO podcast. My name is Dan Taylor, and today I am joined by an old friend. Probably known him about 6-7 years now. Not to put the caboza on both our ages, but thank you for coming along, Chris.
Hi, Dan. I've just, as you said that out loud, it probably is 6 or 7 years, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah,
2017.
it was. Yeah, because I was thinking, no, it was just before COVID, and even if it was just before COVID, that was like 5 years ago now. Good as. Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
Um,
we're both old.
don't tell me about it. I'm feeling
Oh.
older and older every day.
So, for everyone either watching this on YouTube or listening via one of a podcast, I don't know, aggregator, streamer service,
Yeah.
wherever you get your podcasts nowadays, would you like to just give yourself a quick introduction? Who are you? Where you're from? What do you know?
Yeah, so my name is Chris. I'm a senior technical SEO at Luma, which you formerly known as DeepCrawl. You may still know as DeepCrawl. I'm a member of the professional services team within Luma. Luma, if you're unaware, is a big enterprise level crawler. So think Screaming Frog, but we live in your browser, and we're designed for dealing with far bigger sites than Screaming Frog would normally be able to deal with. I'm a member of the professional services team, and so we're like a mini agency almost that sits inside the business. And I sort of specialize in really weird problems, really big websites, all the sort of really strange stuff that requires real digging into. Tends to be where I like to live.
I just had the weird thought that "We Live in Your Browser" should definitely be a Halloween special edition T-shirt.
It's good. Yeah, it's good actually. Now I've said it out loud.
Yeah, I'm taking full copyright for that. I will get royalties in the form of lifetime subscriptions. So today, Chris is joining me to talk about SEOs making friends, and we're not necessarily just meaning friends on Twitter and Reddit and forums, more making friends within organizations. So, kind of, Chris, to get the kind of conversation kicked off, then my opening kind of question to you, to kind of go into this topic, is why is it important to not silo SEO in an organization, either internally or with in-house vendor kind of relationship?
So the big thing for me, I mean, this works in a couple of different ways. The more siloed SEO is, and the more SEO doesn't hear about things, and we still see this every day on enormous clients that we work on. You know, massive, big companies, household names that you'll have heard of. Things happen without SEO being told about it. You know, tags, pages go live, or entire websites go live with tags missing, or you know the sort of thing, the standard SEO horror stories that you hear. So there's that side of things is a big part of it, and then just the other side of it is the more that SEO spend not talking to anybody else, it just makes it impossible. You don't have any cachet with the rest of the business. You know what I mean? You don't when you do need something, nobody cares. Or the thing that we used to have, and again, this is from me being very old, is that the rep that SEO had within when I was in house within the business was just link builders, basically, sort of cowboys who didn't know anything about anything. And we went through a period of kind of having to go a little bit guerrilla in terms of getting things on the site, in terms of linking campaigns and things like that, which again didn't make us any friends anywhere. So that 6 months down the line, when I'm going, hey, we need to start doing page speed stuff, why would any developer want to listen to me, the guy who wrecked the website with some linking assets they put up the other week, right? You just, nobody knows who you are. Nobody thinks you know what you're talking about. As much as I don't like to admit it, the more people think you're not an idiot, the more people are prepared to listen to you and actually start prioritizing your work.
So how do you go about laying the foundations for people to not think you're an idiot?
So the big right. This is going to sound like a rubbish joke, but basically, so obviously I'm a technical SEO. I have a friend who works in cybersecurity. and I have a friend who is a web developer. So us three walk into a bar, and it is like the worst joke in the world. It also helps that I'm Welsh, one of them's English, and one of them's Italian. But that's by the by. That for me has been the biggest eye opener for everything, especially as the cybersecurity guy. I actually worked in a business with him, so he would deal with my crap and I would deal with his crap as well. So, for example, we came in one day and the network team had decided that we didn't need to access the cache anymore. RIP the cache. That was just kind of passed down. You don't need it. You've got Search Console, which doesn't mean anything, but that's what we were told. And it's only through speaking to my friend in the pub that I found out that the reason why it had done it is because it is technically a proxy, and you could, in theory, use it to get round the business's content policies and things like that. So once you hear that, you get and go, okay, we do still need it, but I understand why it's been done, as opposed to just coming in one day and suddenly going, this has happened, right? Mm-hmm. So, and again, same with developers. I obviously get so my friend who's a developer doesn't have he works for quite a small agency and he doesn't have an SEO in house. So sometimes he will ask me questions here and there, and I'm now at the point where I can go, here's the answer. You won't like it because it's going to involve taking apart something you've just built or something like that. But so I know now when I say to him, you're going to need to do this, and he goes, oh, for God, oh no. I know what makes his life suck as well. And, obviously I've dealt with the stuff that they do that makes my life suck. So that's the big thing for me is it sounds dumb. I talk about it a lot is having a tame web developer on the team, right? Is basically just like, if you can, go and sit with them. If you can, just, attend scrums, do all these things, and just the more you can be around those people, talk to them on nights out. Like, it's weird. We noticed on our last night out that, so obviously, we have a development team that works on the tool. We had 2 booths at this bar that we were at, and all the tech guys, so not including us, all the people who build the product basically immediately just went over into the one booth, and all the commercial guys, which is me, all went over to the other, and then that was us for the evening. If you can mix, try, you know what I mean? The likelihood is there will be, again, especially if you're a tech SEO, you're not a million miles removed from probably most of the devs in your team, in terms of interests and in terms of what makes your brains tick. Go and chat to them, or offer to do brown bags, stuff like that helps them. Because when I started sitting with developers when I was in house, a few times I would have them come out, I'd talk them through something, and they'd be like, oh, I didn't think that's what that did. Mm-hmm. Like canonical tags, a lot of people seem to think of some sort of redirect or something. So explaining to them what it is, just that's in their brain then, and they think about it without thinking about it, and it just starts to make a real difference.
So you saying that canonicals I thought was redirects just gave me a little bit of a flashback. I was working with a client probably 6 or 7 years ago, and they had all their SEO previously was handled by a web development agency, and we raised some issues with some really janky behavior, like internal 302s instead of recording content, and it was a real mess of, we know what this thing does, but we don't know how to use it properly. And we raised a massive canonical issue on a call, and this, I don't know what they were, being completely honest now, but they took it upon themselves on this entire call to repeat what I said wrong. So they started calling it a canonical redirect, and I ended up coming out just saying, please stop calling it a canonical redirect.
I hear the phrase a lot, and I don't know where it's come from.
No, it's a... Yeah, I don't get it. I don't, but ours is not to question why.
No,
ours is to try and get a Jira ticket implemented. So outside of making, like, actually sitting down with developers, sitting down with security teams, etc., the other kind of thing which you kind of moved on was getting that cachet within the business. which I think, well, at first, I'm going to be honest, I thought he was just being fancy way of saying cash until he clicked join. Kind of like a Hyacinth Bouquet moment, but that's a niche 90s reference for people. How do you go about getting that cachet, Ben, in a wider business? Because, like you said, especially in the past sort of 10 years, and I agree with you, SEO, I feel, has been seen as a siloed function. It's not been integrated with product. It's almost a marketing function. In some businesses, it's just seen as a thing that's done, a means to an end. So how do you go about getting that wider cachet and buying from wider business stakeholders?
So, and I promise I'm not just saying this as someone who works for, well, I'm saying this as someone who works for a crawler because of this, right? If you're a tech SEO and if you have access to a crawler, and when I say a crawler, I don't mean anything enterprise. I mean, if you've got access to Screaming Frog, even if you've got access to something like SEO tools for Excel or something like that, anything where you can automate going to a URL and getting some stuff, you might not realize it, but somehow you have a superpower that nobody else in the business probably has. It's crazy, right? This occurred to me from talking to my friends, right? And this only dawned on me the other day, is that, and I'll explain what I mean, right? So when I was in house, we would get, we need to update standard thing. We need to update 2023 to 2024 across the website. We need to find all references to 2023. Yeah, I can do that with a crawler in no time. We need to, some regulation has changed and we need to reword. We're not allowed to call this product this anymore. Yeah, fine. I can find all the references to this in no time. But the thing that twigged for me the other day, we are one of the few parts of the business with our hands in the website to some extent who are totally back-end agnostic because we don't care, right? So let's say you've got an e-com site, which is, it doesn't matter. It's Cartivo, Shopify, whatever, right? You've got this over here, and then you've got a WordPress blog over here. Shopify is going to be all built in JavaScript, I think so. It's not PHP, yeah. And then you've got your WordPress blog over here, which is all built in PHP, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got developer, right? And we've picked a random developer out of the air here. He's probably working on the Shopify site. He probably, or they can't, two things. One, might not be able to fix your PHP issue. Two, might not, they could probably find every reference to whatever on the Shopify site, no problem. But they've got no access, or they don't know the WordPress site over here. They don't have anything to do with it. Whereas we just crawl HTML. All we look at is what comes out the other end. It doesn't matter to us what it was built in, what tool wrote it, what person wrote it, etc., etc., etc. We just care about what comes out the other end. So immediately we have the entire domain that we can start looking at. And now in the last few years, now you can start doing things like running client-side JavaScript as well while you're crawling. That opens up a whole world of stuff that you can do in terms of you can start almost doing like acceptance testing stuff for different people. You can do weird stuff that nobody else really has the ability to do because devs and things like that, they aren't crawling. They're running builds and stuff like that, but they're not interested in a weird little bit of JavaScript that checks if that checks that every page has got an image on it. And again, it's going to massively depend on the business that you work for and the limitations of the CMS and everything. But there's loads of people in the business who would love to be able to look at every page on the website and check this thing over here that you don't care about, but they do. You say they're going, all right, well, we've got a load of, again, legacy images from 10 years ago on the site that are 240 by 480. We want to upload nice big high res ones, but I don't know where they are. Right, well, tech SEO can probably find them with a little bit of JavaScript and a little bit of crawling, and nobody else can. And I only recently realized, it turns out even a fairly well equipped cybersec team, SEO crawlers sometimes have features that they don't. Weird things that you just take advantage for, like just stupid things like being able to filter URLs in certain ways or stuff like that. that say we take advantage of and we use every day. I just mentioned doing something simple again to my friend who works in cybersec. He's like, why can't I do that? We pay 6 figures a year for this tool. Why doesn't it do that? I was like, well, I've again, it was something stupid that like Screaming Frog will do. So people don't know what you've got. So just offer to whenever this stuff comes up, just offer or try and find ways to kind of introduce the fact that, hey, I kind of have a view over the entire site that nobody else does. And I'm going to take a breath now, but I've not even got into how you can help cybersecurity teams as well.
Well, take a breath, because my next question, to be honest, with follow that would be, so that's kind of engaging with developers and engineers. How do you then kind of start engaging with that kind of next level up? So head of engineering, or I kind of guess one of the issues that we come across a lot more in technical SEO is actually getting the leverage to get stuff actually implemented. And we can write tickets using invest methods. We can use Fibonacci scoring. We can do any kind of prioritization, impact assessment possible, but we still need to get that buy-in necessarily from either the person who's the scrum master or head of engineering. So how do we go to that next level up to actually get the wheels greased and much more efficient kind of low like downstream?
So the way I've always done it, as I've mentioned before, is that I don't know whether maybe it's so there's a couple of things on this, right? When you start talking to the next level up, the important thing to do, it's two things. I for a long time was guilty of, oh, this person is very high up in the company, they must be super smart and they must want 10,000 graphs and charts and numbers and all this stuff. Nah. What they want is a graph that shows number going down because of problem, and then a graph that shows number going up if the problem is fixed, right? Or and that's simple. When you get to the level up, they start to talk in money. Don't talk in equity, link equity, or or anything like that. Talking
stuff like that,
yeah, talking money. If you've got examples of, oh, we did it on this other section of the site and it did this, you know what I mean? If you've got analytics that shows that we made this change and it was good, do it. Documentation. It's very hard for them to argue that you're wrong if you can point to either documentation or some sort of testing tool that says this is broken. And then the other side of that, and again, I'm reiterating the point, is to get in with the people underneath them, because ultimately what happens is that 9 times out of 10, that scrum master will go, oh, SEO have put in a ticket again. Are we just going to push this one to the back? And someone will be like, oh, no, actually, well, Chris explained it to me the other day. And so it might be one of two things. Either one, I do think that is important, actually. We do need to get that in. Or two, I'm doing work on on whatever injects all our scripts this week anyway. I'll get that in. I'll do that while I'm doing that. It's little things like that. It's so being friends with the devs who know when they can. I think the way they used to refer to it when I was in house is, well, the hood's open. You know what I mean? While I'm working on this section of the site, I can do this anyway, so I might as well. Save me just having to do with it again in a few weeks. Also, if you're dealing with maybe like a head of engineering or something like that, they talk in megabytes and raw seconds and things like that. So if you're talking performance, again, don't talk about lighthouse scores. They don't care. They will have had something in the back of their head somewhere that goes, oh yeah, we should try and get a nice high lighthouse score. But if you can, again, I've got so much buy-in from get web page test, run. Again, this is obviously specifically for performance stuff, but it works. Get web page tests, run your site versus your competitors' sites, download the videos that you can get off there, and then with a bit of not Excel, with a bit of PowerPoint magic, or I think you can do it in slides as well, set the videos to all start running on the same click, so that you can then go, hey, look, it's 3 seconds in, and site A and site B and site C are all loaded and ready to go, and we've not properly loaded our header nav yet. And that's when people start going, oh shit, that's bad, isn't it? It's weird. Like, I found that past a certain level, the data is almost irrelevant, and it's about. It almost becomes PR at that point, and you need to know. It's a bit. First, it depends of the conversation, but if you can play to that particular person's thoughts and fears, for want of a better word, I guess. Because again, a head of engineering does not want that example of us being 20%, 30%, 40% slower than everybody else. Because if that gets out, someone's going to go, I thought you were supposed to be good at making things work. Everybody else is.
Yeah, but the web page test video tool, I mean, one we can just download with 5 videos as well. But number of times where we've approached something with, like, especially early in my career, where it was this is actually why this is an issue. Actually, I'm just going to play this video.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm done. Right.
It's so good.
I did. I think it was. I feel really bad forgetting his name. I think it's also Chris, the guy from Bamboo 9.
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson, defaced on X, Twitter, or whatever. He made a little tool where you could put in a web address and it highlighted the CLS and stuff like that. Those little GIFs and images by exports are fantastically powerful as well. Just a kind of tool dot, I guess, there.
Yeah, while we're shouting people out on the subject of web page test is amazing. And what I've discovered is that it is really badly documented. Matt Hobbs, I think the guy's name is, nooshu.com, that's NOOSHU.com, has written a ton of stuff, a ton of stuff on how to actually use, like some of the graphs and tables and stuff that web page test spits out. You look at them and you go, okay, cool, thanks for the little key at the top, but there's things in here that aren't in that key. And I became so much more able to use that tool just from speaking to him, or just from reading his stuff. Sorry.
No, definitely. We'll drop a link to that in the video description below.
Yeah.
So with that, I kind of guess that's a nice time to kind of start wrapping up. I want to thank you, Chris, for taking time out today to join us.
No problem.
To share some experiences. I also want to thank today's video sponsor, MirrorScore by Mirador Local. There's also going to be a link to that in the video description below. Please do check it out. It's a great little tool. MirrorScore is especially for benchmarking your Google business performance in local search. So with that, I've been Dan Taylor. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do consider dropping a follow on the YouTube channel, drop a like on video, and please let us know in the comments your thoughts and best methods of making friends in SEO organizations. My name's been Dan Taylor, and this has been Chris Spann as well. Thank you very much for watching.